Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I will be sharing my workspace, which I've optimized to get work done as a software engineer and part-time creator. And overall, just excited to share some of the gear I use, which surprisingly a lot of people have asked me about in the comments. Overall, I try to keep my setup rather simple, as with many things. Simplicity and efficiency are key aspects for me in how I work. I feel like keeping a minimal and clutter-free space is what works best for me, helps me stay stress-free, and enables my productivity and creativity. You can find all my gear and tools on my website at b-r.io/gear, or just check out the description. By the way, I'm testing my brand new dream camera. This is the Sony FX3. Still pretty much learning how to use it. Let me know if you think it looks good. So let's jump into it, and I'm going to start with one of the most important components, and conveniently the sponsor of today's video. You know, as a software engineer, you have to consider that you're going to be spending long hours at your desk. For me, I spend about 12 hours, and if there's one thing I've learned during these marathon sessions, it's the importance of good ergonomics. That's why I've always used standing desk ergonomic mice and have this ergonomic monitor. But besides that, it was time for an upgrade from my old IKEA particle board desk, which was, well, let's just say not holding up anymore. That's when Ergonofis thankfully stepped in and sent me their incredible sit stand, the Sway desk, along with a few other cool products that I'll be sharing. So let's talk about the Sway desk. It's packed with features that anyone who values good design and simplicity will appreciate. It has 2 safe positions per user, so whether I'm sitting for a long coding session or standing to edit some videos, it's just an intuitive swipe away. And let's not forget about the beautiful solid wood surface. It's responsibly sourced and comes pre-drilled. A standout feature for me is the anti-collision system. It's happened to me when I have people over, and one time they accidentally lowered the desk with my chair under it, and the entire desk just smushes anything that's under it. So Ergonofis actually thought about this and programmed it. Also, they sent over this super nice solid wood monitor riser, which is a known ergonomic thing. It's recommended for the top of the monitor to be at eye level, and you have to cable manage this desk to not take away from the super clean aesthetic. You can do so with either the Ergonofis cable management solution, which makes it super simple, or just DIY. Let's talk about the monitor I use. This is the LG 34WN780. Yes, I know LG has some weird namings, but one of the main selling points with this monitor is the Ergo stand, which gives complete control over your screen. You can spin it almost 360 degrees if you need to do that. I've had many different monitors and configurations, like a super ultra wide curved display, dual monitors, and dual monitors with one vertical, but I feel like sometimes it can be distracting. For the most part, the tasks I do require focus on just 1 or 2 things. This monitor gets the job done for me. Then on top of the monitor, I have the BenQ Screenbar Halo, which is a very popular accessory for a good reason. And it's nice because it's USB powered, so I just plug it into the rear of my monitor. It illuminates your whole desk with no glare and without having to take up extra space like a traditional lamp. The screen bar is adjusted wirelessly with this sleek dial controller. You can adjust the temperature and brightness, or just set it to automatic. Also, this provides bias lighting to the back of your monitor, which is known to reduce eye strain when your environment is dark. Then to the right of my monitor, I have a MagSafe dock, the Stand 1 by Nomad, in white and silver. The Stand 1, though kind of pricey, is very high quality and heavy enough to hold against the strength of the MagSafe magnets. And perfect timing with iOS 17, you can rotate your phone while charging and get into standby mode, which is a nice addition, including a music player, clocks, calendars, among many other handy widgets. Also, sometimes when I'm coding on mobile responsive websites or mobile applications, it's just nice to have a phone viewport there for you to test the interface. Underneath the Ergonofis monitor riser, I keep my 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's nice to have a single cable setup on my computer so I can get straight to work after just one connection. For that, I use an Anker 7-in-1 USB-C hub, which I adhere to the desk, and it provides just what I need. Overall, developing on a MacBook has been a great experience. Pretty much prefer a laptop compared to a desktop, because of course you still get the option of taking the computer with you. The built-in speakers on the monitor are honestly not the best, however, but I do have headphones on for majority of the time when I'm at my desk. I have the AirPods Max in Space Gray, which provides an awesome sound. Audio is essential for me to stay productive, whether I'm listening to music, listening to a podcast, or even just enjoying some content. Other times, since the AirPod Max are kind of heavy, I just switch over to the AirPods Pro, which is just as good for doing the aforementioned. And with Apple's continuous play feature, I don't have to manually switch between devices. Now, let's look into some of the peripherals that are hooked to my computer. But starting with this vegan leather desk mat by Orbitkey. It's nice and sleek looking and provides a storage location. And as you may see, I don't really have stationary things on my desk. Just haven't found a need for that lately. I keep all of my notes on either Notion or the Apple Notes app. I just find it easier that way to have everything on the cloud. For a while, I've been a fan of mechanical keyboards. I've been loving my current build, which is the Envoy by Mode Designs. I ordered it with a polycarbonate chassis, which gives it a cool retro look, the aluminum plate, and a silver mirror weight. I'll be sure to list out the other details in the description as well. Mechanical keyboards are an interesting hobby because you're quite literally just making extra noise while typing. But once you get your first mechanical keyboard, you will appreciate the more mechanical and analog feel. And I have two keycap sets that I switch around from time to time. This GMK Dracula keycap set, and I have this Tomorrow themed keycap set by Mode Design. I've gone from blue clicky switches in my first build to tactile switches, and now to using linear switches. And for sure, I'm going to be sticking with linear from now on. By the way, what's your typing speed? I've been trying to improve it a little as well to get faster at coding things. Then I have the Logitech MX Master 3, and this is such a solid mouse. There's probably a reason why you see this mouse in so many people's setups. You have just the extra buttons that you need, like back and forward controls, gesture controls, and a secondary scroll wheel. I have tried the Magic Trackpad to replace my mouse entirely, but after a while it would give me some wrist strain. I do see some people using the trackpad to their left of the keyboard to have quick access to swiping gestures. So I'm going to be testing this out to see if it works for me. Let's talk a little bit about the chair. I have the Herman Aeron, which is fully equipped, and this is truly an essential piece since I do spend many hours sitting down. The mesh material is good to stay nice and cool, and it's fully adjustable from height, tilt, and even has these lumbar support pads. And I've always wondered why these or many Herman Miller chairs don't have headrest. After a quick search, I learned that the ideal seating position, you should be able to move your head freely and you shouldn't have to rely on a headrest. So that's an interesting note on chair ergonomics. Lastly, let's look into some of the miscellaneous items. These are not necessarily at my desk, but they do complete my daily workflow. Starting with this IKEA pegboard, I really just keep some things that I need quick access to, like my keys and some remotes. You can pretty much configure to suit your needs. And beside that is the Govee RGB Floor lamp, which I can control from the remote or the Govee app. And most of the time, I do keep it white during the day, and at night, sometimes I do like to add some color. By the way, this is how my setup looks in dark mode. And I did mention that with audio, I use my headphones most of the time, but other times where I just want to fill my entire space with sound, I have this Sonos Beam 2 mounted to the wall, which is more than enough for this pretty small apartment space, but it packs awesome sound quality for music and watching movies, and supports Dolby Atmos through the Sonos app for a nice mini theater-like feel. Of course, I have to stay both caffeinated and hydrated while I'm here. For coffee, my current go-to method is pour over with this electric kettle and coffee grinder by Fellow. It gives you full control of the water temperature and coarseness of your grinds. Even though the pour over does take a little bit more time to get done, it can be satisfying and leaves you with a very good tasting cup of coffee. And I keep this nice looking bottle by LARQ in granite white to match the area. So that pretty much wraps it up. I do want to do a little bit more with the negative spaces around my desk, but without making it too overwhelming or too crowded either. Let me know if you have any recommendations or if you have any favorite desk tools that I can check out. Thanks for checking out my desk setup, and I'll see you on the next video.